not good. Everything, alhamdulillah, everything. Okay, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Today the third category of the opposites in Siffat-ul-huruf, we are looking at the elevation of the tongue, especially the elevation of the back of the tongue. So we are more concerned with only the posterior part, that is the back part of the tongue, that is closer to the throat. Okay, so we are looking at the sifat of Isti'ala and Istifal. The opposite of Isti'ala is Istifal. So what is Isti'ala? Isti'ala is from the word ulu, from the root word, and you will see that Isti'ala means to raise, right? To elevate. Isti'ala means linguistically to raise and elevate. So it's defined linguistically as elevation. And when we apply it in tajweed, it is directing the pressure of the letter to the roof of the mouth. Okay, so you're now moving the back of the tongue towards the roof of the mouth, elevating it. Okay, and that's where you will get the distance between the back of the tongue and the roof of the mouth diminishes. Okay, as you raise the tongue up, the space between the back of the tongue, the surface of the back of the tongue and the roof of the mouth diminishes. It becomes less, right? That gives it the fullness in the sound. That makes the sound heavy. Okay, so the letters that have these characters, so you see the letters here, we can learn the meaning here by memorizing this mnemonics. So the letters are kha, sad, dad, ghain, ta, qaf, and wa. Okay, so you have these letters. You can memorize it with this mnemonics here. Khussa, daghtin, qid. Okay, so you can memorize this by memorizing this mnemonics, or you can just remember it the way you feel comfortable. These 7 letters are also known as the letters of tafkhim. So another name for Isti'ala is also called tafkhim. And tafkhim again means heavy letters. And heavy letters again, immediately what should come to your mind? The back of my tongue is raised up. It's not in its resting position. Every time you raise the tongue in its resting position, from its resting position, the back of the tongue, if you raise it up from its resting position towards and move it towards the roof of the mouth, then you are doing Isti'ala. Okay, so if you look at the letter akh, okay, you see the word akh. The kha is the lowest in the hierarchy. Okay, kha is the lowest in the hierarchy for tafkhim. Okay, and the highest in the hierarchy of tafkhim letters is the letter ta. Okay, the letter ta, because if you see ta, the back of the tongue is raised up all the way up close to the roof of the mouth in such a way like as if it's adhering to it, as if it is sticking to the roof of the mouth. Though there is a gap, it's not sticking, but it feels like as if it's lining the roof of the mouth, right? So, and on another thing, if you notice, ta has even the tip of the tongue, it's touching the gum line of the front incisors, right? So it's not just the back, but it's also the tip of the tongue that is almost close to the roof of the mouth. So that's the reason why ta is going to be the heaviest. Okay, and kha is going to be the lowest in the hierarchy of tafkhim letters. Okay, the mouth should be filled with an echo when these sounds are pronounced. I will not use the word echo here because echo is used only for qalqala. So the mouth should be filled with heaviness, okay, from these letters. That is a better word when these sounds are pronounced. Okay, the opposite of Isti'ala is Istifal. Okay, and in Istifal, istifal, again, if you can remember, fal means to drop. In English also you have the word fall, right? So similar, fal is to lower. A fall is to come down, right? So fal, istifal is the lowering, right? And what is lowered over here? It's not, it's the back of the tongue. The back of the tongue is lowered. And the applied tajweed definition of istifal is the absence of pressuring the letter to the roof of the mouth due to the lack of raising the deepest part, that is the posterior part of the tongue, the deepest part of the tongue. What's the deepest part of the tongue? The part of the tongue that is close to the throat, right? That part where the or we can say this better, we can say the back of the tongue that is closest to the root of the tongue. Okay, where the root of the tongue is, that is what is the deepest part of the tongue. So when there's absence of pressure on the letter due to the lowering of the deepest part of the tongue when pronouncing the letter, you do istifal. Okay, so if you take out the 7 letters of Isti'ala, all the remaining letters are the letters of Istifal. Okay, all the remaining letters are the letters of Istifal. So majority of the Arabic huruf are light letters, layyinan letters. We can call them light, smiley letters, and the heavy letters are very few. Okay, so most of us have issues with our heavy letters. But Alhamdulillah, Allah made it so easy for us. He just gave us how many? 7 letters. Okay, 7 heavy letters. That's all we have to master. And the rest of the letters are all light letters. Alhamdulillah. Okay, now let's go to the next one. We'll go to the letters of Itbaq and Infitah. Okay, okay, let's see here. Itbaq letters are just 4 in number. Okay, let's look at them here. We'll go to Infita, which is the opposite of Itbaq. Okay, let's just look at the Itbaq letters. They don't have it marked here, but I'll show it. Okay, these are the letters of Itbaq. And what is Itbaq? Itbaq is when the back of the tongue, okay, the back of the tongue is raised up. It's raised up all the way close to the roof of the mouth in such a way that it feels like it is lining the roof of the mouth. The sound is occluded. The sound is compressed between the surface of the tongue and the roof of the mouth, giving it its heaviness, heaviness. Okay, so the letters Sod, Dod, and Ta and Wa are the letters of Itbaq. Here you have this written here, Itbaq. So these are the letters of Itbaq. Okay. If you look at Ta, you should be very familiar with the makhraj, right, of all these letters. The makharij of all these letters you should be familiar with. Then that's when you will understand the sifat. If you are not familiar with the makharij, then it's going to be hard for you to understand. So look at Ta, first one. Ta, back of the tongue, tip of the tongue, all raised up, right? In the letter Sod, back of the tongue raised up. And this Itbaq is what? It's raised up all the way close to the roof of the mouth. Okay, the back of the tongue and even the middle portion of the tongue. What about the tip of the tongue? The tip of the tongue is close to the lower incisors, right? The plates of the lower incisors. What about Dod? Dod too. The whole area of the makhraj of Dod is the molars all the way, the premolars and all the molars on the side, right? And the tongue is raised up over here too, both the back and the tip of the tongue. What about the letter Wa? Even in Wa, you have back of the tongue, middle of the tongue, up, raised up towards the roof of the mouth. Just the tip of the tongue is at the lower edge of the front incisors, right? So you have all these letters where a major portion of the tongue is raised up towards the roof of the mouth and the sound is compressed. There's no real room between the surface of the tongue and the roof of the mouth for the sound to move. It moves, but it is compressed because of the space between the roof of the mouth and the surface of the tongue. Okay. Now, why isn't ghain, kha, and qaf included in itbaq letters? Because in all these three letters, because remember, these are all isti'ala letters. Even ghain is an isti'ala letter. We said the back of the tongue is raised up. But if you remember, in ghain, kha, and qaf, the tongue is not raised up to the roof of the mouth, all the way up to the roof. Okay, these are low on the hierarchy. Okay, of isti'ala letters. So that's the reason why they don't fall into the letters of itbaq, but they fall into the category of infitah. Okay, so now let's look at the definition here. Infitah means separation. Okay, infitah is to separate, right, from the word fataha. Right, fataha is to the opening. Okay, the fataha means more like to open. So fataha means to open, and here is when you open, you separate. Right, when you open something, you separate. Like I open a book, I separate the pages. When I open the door, I separate the door from its lock and move it away. So that's the reason why they call it separation. So what do you define it as? Separation. And in applied tajweed, it is known as the absence of compression of the sound of the letter between the tongue and the roof of the mouth. So all the letters, when you remove the itbaq letters, are the letters of infitah. Okay, all the remaining letters are the letters of infitah. There again, there's ease. There's ease in the number of letters. See how ease Allah has made. وَلَقَدْ يَسَّرْنَا الْقُرْآنَ لِلذِّكْرِ فَهَلْ مِن مُدَّكِرٍ. So alhamdulillah, Allah made it easy. It's just that we need to give it our time and attention, inshallah, and try our best to master it. We stop here with this one. سبحانك اللهم بحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.